Hi everybody. Today I want to talk to you about something I know you have on your hard drive that could actually earn you money as a filmmaker, and that is footage. Footage of all types. It could be something you shot on a family vacation. It could be a spec spot that you did with a buddy that never went anywhere, but you have some great B-roll. It could be just some stuff you were passing by that you thought was awesome. And that can be turned into stock footage and sold for dollars. I always try to talk to you guys about having multiple income streams as a filmmaker. So you don't have to have that weird day job. You don't have to go shoot the corporate stuff. You don't have to go and do that work that kind of takes you out of what you want to do every day. And so stock footage is a really great way to do that. There are two types of stock footage. There is editorial. That's stuff that's used for news, that's used in some cases in documentaries if there's, some fair use eligibility there, which means that, you are doing it for newsworthy purposes, so it gets to get used without any releases. The other is licensed footage, and that is the stuff you have releases for. Whether it's a location release, so let's say you shot a cool farmhouse somewhere in Nebraska and you got the homeowner to sign off on a release, a location release. That can be stuff that shows up in commercials. It can be stuff that shows up in web videos. It can be stuff that shows up in other people's documentaries. So that can really be a good source of income. The other is model releases, actually setting up shots like in offices or people doing work or people doing cool stuff, and you get them to sign off. Maybe you pay them $20 or you just promise to give them the footage. I do this all the time. I'm always saying, hey, look, let me shoot in your building, or let me shoot you surfing or skateboarding or mountain climbing or whatever, and I'll give you footage and you give me a release. That kind of lifestyle footage gets put in commercials all the time. And after a while, all of those little buys that they're making on your footage start to add up. I make in the tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not going to quit my job doing it, nor do I want to. I just use it as a supplement to my income. But if you felt like it, you could make a real living doing this. There are people who do nothing but this. But you always have to make sure that your footage is standing out. If you're getting a shot of the Eiffel Tower, there are so many shots of the Eiffel Tower that there's not one you could get that hasn't been gotten 1,000 times. So the way that I make sure that my footage stands out is going to places that are hard to get to. I will go into some back corner of a national park. I'm in El Mal País, Spanish basically for the Badlands in New Mexico. Or I will go to a weird little corner of the city I'm visiting. And grab footage. And the way I fund that is that when I sell a piece of stock footage, I take 10% of what I made and I put it in a little bank account and it just sits there. And when I want to take a trip, all of those little nickels I threw in there actually fund it. I don't have to go very far, no matter where I am in the country, to find something cool to shoot. And that helps me not have to dip into the things, that feed my family and pay the mortgage. But getting into those hard to reach places, or those out of the way places, or those lost places that nobody found. I found some really cool footage of an old hotel with this weird car in front of it. It looked like it hadn't been touched since the 1950s. It was in the middle of New Mexico, right off Route 66. Nobody kind of had seen that. Those situations where going somewhere remote or out of the way can really pay off, and that ended up being a piece of footage that I ended up selling a lot of. So I want you guys to know that you can make money as a filmmaker, and that the business side of this endeavor that we're all into is very important. And if you think about having 3, 4, or 5 different income streams, some gig work, some of that project work that's your work, and stock footage, Think about it. You add all that stuff together and all of a sudden you've got a real living. So that's the message I always want you guys to hear, is that there is a way to make money as a full-time filmmaker, and stock footage is a great way to do that.